when the neocons were there. But what sometimes people forget is that the neocons are not just in the Republican Party. They're also, all you can do is take a look at Victoria Nuland. And in fact, one of our colleagues, Colleen, called her Victoria Pagan, and husband and Kagan, I should say. And but Israel, this is all about Israel. I'm just telling you like it is. I'm not going to be holding back anymore. What drives me is when we talk about our war wounded, and y'all heard me say this before, from 2008 until I eventually retired in 2022, I worked with the official sanctioned Wounded Warrior programs. I left the Pentagon as the contract program manager of their Wounded Warrior program. From 2008 to 2014, I saw firsthand the war wounded coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and I saw some of the worst wounds and injuries you can ever imagine. The other reason I am so mad is because of the fact Israel is going to do everything they can to draw us into a war with Iran. Yes. That's why all you hear about where Iran has something to do with. Well, wait a minute. First of all, what makes me mad about our country, we don't have empathy for others' interests. For example, we're in their neck of the woods. You don't think Iran, you're in their neck of the woods, they're going to have interest, they're going to support others too? What are we doing over there? We're supporting Israel. So nobody's supposed to support the counter that? And so Israel's going to do everything. I am so scared. I talked to some folks a few days ago. This has been the topic of all conversations and all think tanks now. There are some, with those carriers and others in the ships that we have out there, there are some that are really afraid of a false flag. And what I mean by that, just look at your history, the USS Liberty. The USS Liberty. For those, in your audience, just look that up. And I know some folks that are really, in theater right now, they're really worried about a false flag to do anything they can. The one that really shocked me is someone told me they wouldn't be surprised if Israel attacked Iran. And then what happens then? Let me tell you something. Iran will respond. Okay. Oh, by the way, Iran, we're not even going to talk about Hezbollah with their 100,000 rockets and missiles. Iran have ballistic missiles, not rockets, but ballistic missiles. And that's what a lot in the neocon and the Bush administration, those that were against the Iran nuclear deal, is because of the fact they wanted to limit Iran's nuclear missile program. Why? Because they don't need a nuclear weapon. They can take out, be quite frank with you, they can do a lot of damage in Israel with their ballistic missiles. So if we want to draw Iran into a war, as I put in one of my recent statements, it definitely, as some describe the Iraq war, this definitely will not be a cakewalk.
I've thought all along that was part of this. It wasn't remotely surprising to me that they've been harping on this. Well, Iran sends aid and sends help and sends weapons to us. Oh, yeah. But I feel like this is one of those things where I say, like, the absolute caucasity of us. This is where I just lose my shit. So in other words, other countries and other people are not allowed to help them. So we are like, it's so infuriating to me. And for everyone who wants to talk about Israel's right to defend itself, this is not a war. There are not two sides. This is not a war. It's an occupation, and it's like a slave rebellion. And I just cannot get that through to people enough. This is like a slave rebellion. And yes, it's horrible things are happening. But what should they do? Again, they just want them to just sit there incarcerated in their outdoor prison for eternity.
The problem that we have right now is on multiple layers. We're going to talk about RFK later in the show, but one of the things that cannot be denied, which I think is very telling where a lot of people's mindset is, RFK was down here in Miami last week. And when questioned about his position on Israel, specifically about the Palestinians in Gaza, he actually said the words, "It is not an occupation." And so if you are going to draw that conclusion that there is no occupation, only one of two possibilities. You are completely inept and not up for the job, or you're lying on behalf of the military-industrial complex.
Willfully ignorant or lying.
There is no denying it because the international community has made it very clear that that's what this is. And you can sell it any which way you want, and the Zionists are going to sell it. They have a lot of money and a lot of influence. AIPAC, ADL, there's a number of organizations, and they are backed by some. Just look at what happened at Harvard. You know, when Mr. Wexler, one of the wealthiest Jewish billionaires on the planet, decides that I'm going to pull my money now because you're not doing what I tell you to do, that's how this works. And that's how it's always worked. But now I feel like we're kind of crossing into a very unique moment in history where the veil is being pulled off of the Wizard of Oz. It's like people are now seeing who's behind the curtain, and they're not going to like what they see. Because to them, the value of human life is only about the value of their dollar. That's it. There is no value to human life. And if killing 100,000, killing 1 million people in Gaza is going to get them what they want, they will not hesitate for a second to do it. And I think that was the whole point about Bibi, is he thought that this was his opportunity to pull this off, to get the genocide done and get it with a minimal amount of resistance. But the great news is that the resistance isn't a little, it is significantly large that the Muslim community of Dearborn, Michigan has already told Biden this is what he's getting for the 2024 election. That's pretty significant if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, look, let me share something. Let me just get to the chase, as the old saying go right now. I can tell you they are lying. Why are they lying? Because they just want that power and prestige. That's how bad they want it. They are outright lying. You know why I know they are lying? Because I used to work for Air Force Legislative Affairs, and I spent a lot of time on the Hill. And oh, by the way, guess what? Guess where those lying congressmen and women get their talking points? From the world famous AIPAC that you were talking about earlier. And that is a fact. They get their talking points. That's why they say the same thing. I stand with Israel. You know, now let me share something that we haven't talked about. And when you talk about human rights, our United States of America, we have lost all credibility when you will stand by and let no water, food, and medicines get into the Gaza. And guess what? As you already know, half of that country is 18 years and below.
Yeah. Women
and children. And we, the United States of America, the so-called leaders of human rights, will not let medicine. We should demand that. And oh, by the way, it should not be behind the scenes. Think about that for when we talk about they're lying and they're scared. Oh, we're doing quiet diplomacy around the city. No, you should be out front saying, demanding medicine be in there. So guess what? Why is it we can't demand it since we give you $3.5 billion a year, and now we're talking about giving you $14.5 billion a year as soon as we can get a Speaker of the House, not take care of Americans, but give Israel the first thing they want on the plate. And I'm sorry, I'm mad right now. I wish I could be in school and gone as Christian.
No, it's good. It's that we all should be mad. We should be furious. It's also very interesting when when corporate media starts the clock. Palestinians jailbreak from Gaza and kill Israelis, and that's when they start the clock. Yeah. They don't start the clock in 48. They don't even start the clock at the beginning of this year. From the beginning of this year through to October 6th, the Israelis had killed over 200 people directly just in the West Bank alone. Just in the West Bank alone. None of that. I never saw that on any corporate news clip. Never. And so October 7th comes around, and that's when they start the clock. Because like you guys have said, certain lives mean absolutely nothing to the U.S. ruling class.
And what's ironic is, so we were just talking about this. I have a cousin, and she just, if she were harmful, I'd be concerned. But and she has no idea what she's doing. And so this is how I came across this tweet, because otherwise I would never see this. So she's reposting something that came from Larry Elder, basically saying, how come Jewish lives don't matter? That man put that out. Yeah. Oh yeah, he did.
Well, look, I know I've been. Well, listen, when you said his name, how about doggone Scott out of South Carolina? I saw him on CNN, and Gabby Phillips had to say, "Whoa, wait a minute! This guy, the so-called Christian God-loving person, said we should not allow no humanitarian goods into Gaza." And Abby Phillips said, "Wait a minute, am I hearing you right? Think about that, how hypocritical we are. That's how bad they want power, and that's how bad they want that AIPAC money."
Yeah.
But I think it's going to backfire. and I think for the select few, it's not going to be a lot, but I think for the very astute and well-executed political campaigns that will transpire in the next 6 months, that will be coming after a number of these AIPAC darlings, I don't think they're going to have the same impact that they once did. They'll have a lot of money for sure, and they'll run very disgusting smear, racially charged ads like they will against, as they did against Nina Turner, as they did against Summer Lee. In some instances, and most it'll work. In some instances, and maybe more so than, maybe in years past, it's not going to work.
I think we're seeing a change. Well, look, we're definitely seeing a change in public opinion regarding Palestinians, but more so where I'm seeing it is among American Jewry. My fellow tribes people are coming around. And as somebody who attends Jewish Voice for Peace, I was amazed. There were more than 800 people on a Zoom that they had to turn it into a webinar. And what was so happy for me, I was so happy to see that so many of the people were my parents' age. So it wasn't just young people. There are older people that are starting to recognize this. You're never going to see it on CNN or MSNBC or Fox.
The problem that we have, and this is a significant problem, like you said, Dennis, obviously, and much gratitude and appreciation for what you say about our show. It means a lot. We may not have the biggest audience in the world.
We're small but mighty.
But I think we put out some pretty solid content, and we put out a clip that was about a minute long of Jen basically explaining what it's like to grow up a Zionist in the United States or in Israel. And in that 1 minute of time, it basically lays the foundation of how AIPAC and the like have been able to get away with what they've been able to get away with for a very long time.
We were brainwashed. In seriousness. We were so brainwashed. I can't even, and it's so upsetting because we weren't even brainwashed about something that happened eons ago. We were brainwashed about something where there are still primary sources that are alive.
Yeah. We ended up doing very well on Instagram, but on TikTok, it ended up going viral.
Oh.
And by going viral, I caught it pretty quick because they actually flagged it. They actually pulled it and said that it was harmful content. Now, of course, I was able to repeal it, and you have to
appeal it.
You have appeal. Yes, I appealed it, and you obviously have to respond in a certain way. But thankfully, they didn't have a leg to stand on. There was no harmful content. Of course, it was just the word.
It's just the truth.
Yeah, the truth. The truth hurts, apparently, to the powers that be. But thankfully, over 200,000 people have seen it, and over 33,000 people have liked it, and over 1,500 people have commented on it. And so what that tells me is that there are a lot of good people that are out there. They do believe that we can turn a corner. And the ones that have been able to get away with this for so long will only be able to get away with it for so long. Our motivation on this channel, and maybe that's the advantage that we have over others, is that we don't do this to make a living.
No.
There's a lot of other people who make, content, political content online.
And that's good because we got demonetized a while back for something.
We did. For something we don't even know. They couldn't explain to us exactly what it was. But the good news is that we can tell the truth, because a lot of others won't tell the truth because for them, their livelihood depends on it. So if they know that they're going to cross into an area that is going to get them demonetized, where they're making thousands upon thousands of dollars a month in income, they're going to think twice about what they're going to say.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.